Welcome to Dr. Balaga's God Knowledge Doc podcast, your quick dive into the latest medical breakthroughs to keep you ahead of the curve. Let's get started. Today is October 13, 2025. This video is on 3 articles. One titled Association between delayed statin initiation after high LDL cholesterol detection and cardiovascular risk in General Health Screening Examinees, published in the European Heart Journal Quality of Care and Clinical Outcomes on 10 September 2025. The second is a JACC article, Journal of the American College of Cardiology, Time Course of LDL Cholesterol Exposure and Cardiovascular Disease Event Risk. And the third is an accompanying editorial titled Cholesterol Years for Atherosclerotic Cardiovascular Disease Risk Prediction and Treatment, also published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology. The first article emphasizes that delayed statins is a higher risk. Dyslipidemia, especially high LDL cholesterol, is a major cardiovascular risk. Statins are first-line therapy for prevention of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. The real-world data on timing of statin initiation in low to intermediate risk groups is sparse. So the Korean General Health Screening Database was used to explore the timing of statin start post-LDL cholesterol detection. They looked at 508,284 adults above the age of 20 in Korea, screened between 2009 to 2012. They excluded prior MI and stroke or statin use before 2009. They categorized them into 4 groups: normal lipidemic, statin start in the first, second, and third year post high LDL cholesterol that's greater than 130 milligrams per deciliter. Median follow-up 10.4 years. Primary outcome incident myocardial infarction. Statistics Cox proportional hazards model with multivariable adjustment for age, gender, body mass index, lifestyle, income, diabetes, and hypertension. What did they find? There were 5,058 total MI events. The risk of MI rose with delay in statin therapy. The hazard ratio versus normal lipidemic in the first year 1.32, second year 1.41, and third year of delay 1.61. The p-value trended to less than 0.001. The risk was highest in younger individuals, less than the age of 40 years, in men, and in non-diabetics. Normalization of LDL cholesterol post-statin did not eliminate the risk increase. The limitations of the study, it was an observational design, residual confounding possible, Korean-only population may limit generalizability, no data on statin and type and dose, selection bias possible. Key takeaways: delayed statin initiation post high LDL cholesterol strongly linked to MI risk. Early statin start benefits are particularly notable in younger adults. Supports proactive primary prevention in real-world screening settings. The second article from the Journal of the American College of Cardiology emphasizes that cholesterol years matters. Background: LDL cholesterol is causally linked to atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Prior studies emphasizes LDL cholesterol level, but this study investigates LDL cholesterol duration and cumulative burden. The concept LDL cholesterol years, that is equivalent to exposure magnitude multiplied by time, akin to pack years in smoking, assesses whether long-term LDL cholesterol exposure independently predicts atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease events. Looked at 8,288 adults aged 45 to 64 or at baseline from the Atherosclerosis Risk in Communities study, or the ERIC study. LDL cholesterol and statin use were assessed at 4 visits over 10 years. LDL cholesterol years were calculated via area under the LDL cholesterol curve using the trapezoidal rule. The primary outcome, first atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease event, that is either coronary artery disease or ischemic stroke. Median follow-up 16 years, Cox proportional hazards model adjusted for traditional risk factors. What did they find? Each 1000 mg per deciliter year increase in LDL cholesterol years was associated with 6% increased atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease, hazard ratio 1.06. Strong association in younger adults, Black participants, and those with lower baseline LDL cholesterol levels. LDL cholesterol years remain significant even after adjusting for LDL cholesterol measurement. The limitations of the study assumes linearity between visits. Possible LDL cholesterol fluctuation was missed. LDL cholesterol measured only 4 times over 10 years. Residual confounding diet lifestyle adherence may persist. Key takeaways: not just how high your LDL cholesterol is, but for how long it was elevated. Cholesterol years is an independent risk predictor for atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Advocates for early intervention to reduce lifetime LDL cholesterol burden. Timing of exposure should inform preventative strategies, not just one-time levels. The editorial insight by Dr. Shapiro and Dr. Deepak Bhatt. Cholesterol burden over the years, or LDL cholesterol years, is a powerful concept akin to pack years in tobacco. Cumulative LDL cholesterol exposure matters more than a single point LDL cholesterol measurement. Conceptually unifies LDL cholesterol level and duration to refine risk stratification for atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Time-integrated cholesterol exposure predicts risk of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease independent of last LDL cholesterol reading. Early and sustained LDL cholesterol lowering is a major long-term benefit. Implications: endorses lifetime cholesterol monitoring, advocates for early prevention before risk factors reach traditional treatment thresholds, adds a compelling narrative to guide updates and shared decision making. The editorial takeaway: when it comes to LDL cholesterol, time is plaque. The clinical pearls: timing, burden, and prevention. Early statin start saves lives. Delaying statin therapy after high LDL cholesterol detection significantly increases myocardial infarction risk even after 1 year. The second, cholesterol years count. LDL cholesterol exposure over time predicts atherosclerotic cardiovascular risk better than snapshot LDL cholesterol levels. Early and sustained LDL cholesterol lowering should be prioritized to reduce long-term burden. Risk persists despite lower levels. Even with modest LDL cholesterol levels, long exposure duration confers risk of atherosclerotic cardiovascular disease. Highlights the importance of cumulative LDL cholesterol burden in lifetime risk assessments. Clinical translation moves from threshold-based treatment to trajectory and time-based models. It's important to discuss cholesterol years with patients during risk communication and goal setting. This reinforces LDL cholesterol as time-independent toxin. Prevention strategies might begin earlier, before overt elevation or even events. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your colleagues. When we change how we see disease, we change how we shape lives. Until next time, stay curious, stay compassionate, and keep seeking wisdom. Podcast brought to you by masterbedfacts.com. This podcast is for physicians and healthcare providers. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and forward to your friends.